A beef between two titans of the New York music scene hits the sex trafficking and racketeering trial of Sean Diddy Combs. Why 50 Cent was brought up this week during emotional witness testimony. Combs and 50, they've been at odds for a long time. And now, one of them's facing the possibility of spending the rest of their life in federal prison, and the other is not holding back or hiding the apparent joy they find in that possibility happening with a guilty verdict.
The lights are up, but the air is thick with shadow. This isn't a celebration. This is the moment the music stopped and the silence is deafening. For years, decades even, he was untouchable, a mogul, a legend.
Sean Diddy Combs and 50 Cent. These two go back a long time. They have been rivals for a long time. And this week we learned that, at least from Diddy's side of things, this feud apparently went far beyond words. 50 Cent's name came up during the testimony this week of Capricorn Clark. She is a former assistant of Sean Combs, who went on to become the head of marketing for his Sean John clothing brand. Clark rose successfully and professionally through the ranks of Diddy's world during her time working for him, which stretched between 2004 to 2018, so she saw a lot. Clark claimed that Diddy would threaten her, and she says he even kidnapped her in 2011. All of this matters as we build up to how 50 Cent kind of factors into what she said on the stand. Now, Capricorn Clark started working for Bad Boy after she worked for Death Row Records. Now, that's surprising, since Death Row was ran by perhaps Diddy's most hated enemy, Suge Knight. Clark said that one of her good friends had a baby with Suge Knight, and that's how she knew him. And in perhaps the most shocking story from her testimony, Clark claimed that shortly after she started working for Diddy, Diddy and his security guards took her to Central Park after dark, and Diddy said, quote, "He told me he didn't know that I had anything to do with Suge Knight, and if anything happened, he would have to kill me." It is an allegation that paints Combs as someone who is ready to take a life. But as Capricorn Clark's testimony continued, she brought up another rival of Sean Diddy Combs and another allegation that he made an ominous threat of violence. Clark testified, when working for Diddy, they went to a press event at MTV and 50 Cent was there. And just wait until you hear what she says Diddy told 50's manager. 50 Cent's real name is Curtis Jackson. He rose to fame in the early 2000s. You might remember songs like In the Club. You might remember that he was the leader of the rap group G-Unit. Now, 50 grew up in Jamaica, Queens, New York. Diddy, also a New York native. He was born in Harlem, grew up in Mount Vernon, New York, just about 20 miles away. And even though they both had success in music, they both rose to fame representing the city of New York and the rap scene there, they have been longtime rivals. In 2006, 50 Cent released a diss track about Diddy. So almost 20 years ago, this goes back a long way. And in that diss track, he says, quote, "Who shot Biggie Smalls? We don't get 'em. They gon' kill us all. Man, Puffy know who hit that expletive. Man, that expletive soft." Now, 50 is accusing Combs there of knowing who killed his friend, the notorious B.I.G. Christopher Wallace. Wallace and Puffy were incredibly close, but Wallace was shot and killed in a drive-by shooting in Los Angeles in 1997, and no one has ever been charged for pulling the trigger. This all happened during really the height of the East Coast-West Coast rap rivalry of the 90s, which involved Suge Knight, who we mentioned earlier. 50 Cent has also accused Diddy of orchestrating the murder of death row rapper Tupac Shakur, who died in 1996 in a Las Vegas drive-by shooting. This is Dwayne Keefe D. Davis. He was arrested in September 2023, and he is the only person facing charges related to Tupac's murder. But 50 Cent has continued to push the allegation that Sean Combs either knows something or did something for Tupac to end up dead, though Diddy has denied that. But in a 2023 Instagram post, 50 wrote, "Damn, so Pac got lined by brother love, LOL, time to lawyer up, expletive might get sticky," with a pic of Suge Knight in a car with Tupac. Diddy, who has a lot of names, Puff Daddy, Puffy, Puff, and Brother Love is one of those other names. Now, from Diddy's side of things, again, he's denied having any.
Sean Diddy Combs stood on a mountain of success, commanding hip-hop, fashion, liquor, and culture. He was the architect of an empire built on the very idea of a glamorous, endless party, but all parties must end. And the host, the man who set the rules, is now seeing his carefully constructed reality crumble in real time, exposed, humiliated, and fighting a war on multiple fronts he can't possibly win. The hammer that finally cracked the foundation of the bad boy empire wasn't a corporate scandal or a simple financial ruin. No, it's far darker, more disturbing, and it's being swung by a man who has been waiting in the wings, sharpening his blade. For nearly 2 decades, Curtis 50 Cent Jackson, this isn't just beef anymore. This is a full-scale dismantling, and Diddy is losing it. The composure, the swagger, the untouchable cool, it's all gone, replaced by the look of a man watching his life's work, his very identity, dissolve into ash. He's pleading
anything to do with Tupac's murder, and he's also denied having anything to do with Christopher Wallace's death, and he's denied publicly having issues with 50 Cent. Here's what Combs said when he was asked about a beef with 50 in a 2018 interview with the radio show The Breakfast Club, Power 105.1 FM.
Hey, yo, I don't have no beef with
I don't know why.
With Fifth. He loves me. He loves me.
Do y'all really
can't
have
see
a
it?
beef?
I mean, y'all can't see it.
No, we can't see
Y'all
it,
can't
man.
see that he loves me?
But see,
you really think that's hate?
If you look at 50's social media, you can see he has a lot of posts about Diddy. And this is what he posted the day that federal agents in Miami raided Combs' mansion ahead of his arrest on the charges that he's now on trial for. 50 Cent posted on X, now it's not Diddy do it, it's Diddy done. They don't come like that unless they got a case. 50 Cent also included a link to his G-Unit clothing brand in that post. While Diddy in the Breakfast Club clip said that 50 Cent actually loves him and there was never a beef, on the stand this week, Capricorn Clark said otherwise. Clark said that she was at this press event at MTV with Diddy and 50 Cent was also there, all of this happening in New York. Clark said, quote, after the interview wrapped up, myself, Puff, and Chris Lighty got in the elevator. Clark said that Lighty was an entertainment manager who, on paper, was managing Diddy at the time, but was also 50 Cent's manager at the time. Prosecutors asked Clark what happened in the elevator, and she said, quote, Puff told Chris, because they were having some sort of issue, like, I really don't like all the back and forth. I don't do that. I like guns. The prosecutor then asked, what's the issue with an individual? And Clark responded, he had an issue with 50 Cent. She said Combs was very serious when he said that. In this case, it has become common to hear testimony from witnesses about alleged threats by Diddy. In fact, several witnesses have said that Diddy regularly threatened to fire people, to beat people, like his former girlfriend Cassie Ventura, and in this case, making a threat involving firearms to settle a dispute per the testimony of someone who was one of his closest associates for more than a decade. Invoking gun violence and some sort of veiled threat, that could be scary for some, but apparently not 50 Cent. On Instagram, 50 posted right after his name came up in the courtroom, quote, cut, wait a minute. Puffy's got a gun? I can't believe this. I don't feel safe, with a picture that looked like an AI image of 50 Cent on a movie set looking serious. And he wasn't done. Shortly after that, he posted another AI image on Instagram of him in a Yankees hat with a very scared look on his face with the caption, oh my goodness, itty bitty Diddy wants me dead. I have to lay low. Sad face emoji. I think I'm gonna hide out at the playoff game tonight, LOL. Then the next day he posted what he did that night. He went to the NBA playoff game between the New York Knicks and the Indiana Pacers in Indiana. And you can see him here in a picture on the floor in a shirt that reads, quote, Free Diddy, playing into the trolling that 50 Cent has done to Sean Combs over the years, even before Combs was ever accused of what he is on trial for. Now, Combs' trial is expected to last another month at least. He's charged with racketeering, sex trafficking by force, and transportation to engage in prostitution. He has pleaded not guilty. Join us now to talk more about the trial of Sean Diddy Combs and everything that's going on inside the courtroom is Afi Patterson, civil and criminal defense attorney. Thanks for taking the time to be with us. We're focusing on what was a minor moment in the grand scheme of everything we heard in the trial this week, but there's this anecdote that Capricorn Clark told about what related to 50 Cent, but what Diddy allegedly told 50 Cent's manager at MTV during her time of working for Diddy. What did you make of it?
He's deleting social media. He's issuing apologies that land with the sickening thud of a missed punch. And 50 Cent? He's not just watching. He's narrating the entire collapse, using his platform like a wrecking ball. This isn't a rapper beef. This is history being rewritten in real time. What 50 Cent has finally revealed. What he's been saying for years and is now weaponizing in his highly anticipated documentary Did He Do It? Are the so-called secrets that have been whispered in the darkest corners of the industry, secrets that, until now, the power of the Diddy machine was able to suppress, settle, and silence, but silence has an expiration date, and that date is today. We're talking about more than just alleged financial mismanagement or a cutthroat business style. We're talking about a pattern of alleged criminal enterprise spanning decades, involving sexual assault, sex trafficking, racketeering, and shocking, unimaginable abuse of power, the kind of secrets that don't just damage a career, they end it forever, they erase the legacy.
Her time of working for Diddy. What did you make of that? Sean Combs saying, I don't like the back and forth, but I like guns.
I think it goes to the overall case. They've been saying that Diddy was a dangerous guy. If he made a threat, he could back it up. And I do recall reading that she said that his demeanor was very, very serious. And knowing the history, knowing his history, his violent history, knowing about the beef between Biggie and Tupac, I think that it probably frightened her. And I think that just again, his her knowing about his violence, his propensity for violence, his behavior with her, his behavior with Cassie, his behavior with other employees, he's just continually in reinforcing that violence. So I think it was a really good moment for the government.
Yeah, it's just, and it seems like there are these little moments along the way where there are some celebrity names that pop up. This case, it was 50
Hmm.
Cent. We heard earlier in the trial, Usher and Neo were at a dinner where Cassie was allegedly assaulted. It was unclear whether they saw that, but it was said that they were there. As far as the history of 50 Cent and Diddy, do we know how it started? I know that 50 Cent had a diss track, I think around 2006, claiming that
Hmm.
Sean Combs knew who killed Biggie Smalls, but is there a particular incident that happened that made 50 Cent just seem to really start to come at Sean Combs?
I don't know what's ground zero for them. I've seen, interviews that 50 has given saying that it's all business with them. I know they both have alcohol lines, and I know, they're both from New York. I think 50 is maybe from Queens and Diddy is from Harlem. I don't know what their ground zero is, but I know that since this since this all came out, 50 has not stopped. He's been taunting Diddy online. You, of course, know about the documentary. I believe it got picked up by Netflix, and he is supposedly donating the proceeds to victims of domestic violence. Diddy has had his knee on his neck and his foot to the gas on Diddy for a while, but again, I don't know where it started.
Yeah, I mean, 50 Cent, for many people, if it was ever, there was an anecdote that came out that someone had said, oh, I like guns when talking about it back and forth, it might scare you. 50 Cent was at the
Mhm.
Knicks Pacers game in Indiana with a free Diddy t-shirt on, sitting courtside the next day. That's
Was
just,
he?
it's different. It was, yeah, it was different.
Mhm.
I look back and we aired a bit kind of leading into this interview, a clip from the Breakfast Club. It was 2018 and Diddy was on the show and they asked about the issues that he had with 50 Cent. And he said, there's no issues. I love him. He loves
Mhm.
me. He was kind of joking about it. And then you hear these stories that come out, whether it's this one specifically
Mhm.
about 50 Cent or just in general, the picture that's being painted by the government in this trial. For you, has kind of the image of Sean Combs and who you thought he was, has it changed during the course of what we've seen over the last couple of weeks?
Certainly over the course of what we've seen, but I think I've seen an interview where 50 said, if you want to go nowhere, go to Diddy. If you're ready for your career to die, go to Diddy. It's long been rumored that Diddy didn't necessarily treat his artists properly, and if you look through his roster of artists, you'll see a lot of individuals whose careers probably started off really, really well, but they ended up with no money. That's long been the rumor. There've been rumors of
The first, and perhaps most chilling, secret 50 Cent brought back to the forefront, and one that resonates deeply within the current lawsuits, revolves around the culture of Diddy's infamous parties. For years, the freak-off parties were legendary and exclusive, debauched rite of passage for the elite. But 50 Cent and others are now confirming the sinister reality allegedly lurking beneath the glitter and champagne. We are talking about allegations of coercion, the strategic use of drugs and alcohol to facilitate non-consensual acts, and the dark underbelly of a system where young, aspiring artists were allegedly trafficked and victimized under the guise of mentorship and opportunity. The shocking details unearthed by federal raids, the discovery of surveillance cameras in private spaces, the alleged existence of meticulous records, the sheer, staggering quantity of substances like baby oil and lubricant, all of it serves as a horrifying physical validation of the allegations. 50 Cent, with his characteristic savage precision, has seized on every single detail.
Abuse by Diddy toward Cassie and toward Kim and some other women as well. Even when he was at, I think Uptown is where he originally started. So there have always been rumors, but nothing really solidified and verified like we've had in this trial. It's been awful. I think it would be awful for anyone. I don't think his reputation is in the business world certainly will never recover. And even if he's found not guilty, his name is mud. I don't think that it's recoverable. I think everybody is extremely shocked, especially just some of the sexually explicit things. We have a huge morality issue in America. So anything that's like a little deviant is just not going to be really good for you. So I think everybody's a little shocked. I'm a little shocked and appalled and horrified, and I think a lot of people are. But this is not what we knew. We knew some things weren't right, but we didn't know just how wrong they were.
And I feel like we just knew because I mean, we all grew up, whether it was, some of the roles he had in movies and I mean, he was everywhere and then his brands were everywhere. And it's like Making the Band was such like a hit show on MTV back in the
Hmm.
day. And there's that famous scene where he has all the contestants walk to Brooklyn to go get, I think it was Junior's cheesecake. And he's yelling at
Hmm.
people. And then it seemed like everyone around him in any documentary that he did, it was like, oh, that's just Puff because he's always just so angry. And then it's just this whole other level in the trial where it just, as an attorney, I mean, how effective has the government been as you just read, and we can only read transcripts really and kind of hear from the people we
Hmm.
have in the courtroom, but just at this point, how effective has the government been in painting the picture of this isn't just someone who was a domestic abuser, this isn't someone who was just a mean boss, but this was a racketeer who was running a criminal enterprise.
Yeah, and I think the forced labor issue. I think they've done an excellent job with that. With the transcripts I've been reading, a lot of the people are saying that they worked for 20 hours, like that's the magic number, 20 hours straight. They, on a good day, we heard you'll get 4 hours of sleep. On a bad day, you'll get 4 hours of sleep. I think one of the what is it, a bodyguard said, if you sleep you're getting fired, like it was more rhythmical or rhythmic than that. I don't know, but you couldn't sleep around him, and I think that's what we saw with Making the Band. But again, we really didn't believe it. We thought it was for entertainment purposes. We didn't think someone could really act like this. And if an employee gave any pushback, uh, you know, they would either be terminated or they'd be threatened with reputational damage. They would be threatened with being blackballed, or they actually would be blackballed. And I think the government is doing an excellent job of proving forced labor.
And on that forced labor part, because on one hand, and I found it interesting, like George Kaplan, who is a former personal assistant for Diddy, like detailed all these, uh, you know, witnessing the abuse, he said, of Cassie. And then he was someone who would start work at 9:30 in the morning. And I think he said sometimes he went home at 7 o'clock in the morning the next day. And that's just what it was like. And he still, at the end of his testimony, said something along the lines of, he respects Diddy as this business person. In the eyes of the law and in this trial, what's the line between, well, this was a guy who just worked his employees really hard to the point of where it was a forced labor issue where he was breaking the law?
So I think the perfect forced labor issue is I think Mia's testimony that we read through today, and I think it's
Turning the baby oil into a viral symbol of Diddy's alleged depravity. He's not just reporting the news, he's turning the evidence against Diddy into a cultural meme, ensuring the humiliation is total and inescapable. The next devastating revelation, a secret that speaks to the rot at the heart of the music business, is the alleged weaponization of the non-disclosure agreement, the NDA. 50 Cent has repeatedly highlighted how Diddy's enormous wealth and legal muscle were allegedly used to buy the silence of victims for decades. The very fact that multiple high-profile lawsuits, including the initial bombshell suit from Cassie, were settled incredibly quickly is now being presented not as an admission of guilt, but as proof of a sophisticated, well-funded system of cover-up. 50 Cent's documentary is promising to go beyond the settled lawsuits, to give a voice to the voiceless, the people who either couldn't afford to fight or whose silence was bought with the stroke of a check. This isn't just one bad act. This is the alleged architecture of sustained, protected abuse. And 50 Cent's narrative is that the price of Diddy's silence
But she reportedly has a great relationship with 50 Cent as well. When asked if Mary J. Blige reached out to 50, he responded, no. You know what? Mary never reached out to tell me not to F up Puffy because she knows he does that stuff. As Diddy and 50 Cent have long been in the rap game, they share another commonality, and that's 50 Cent's ex-girlfriend and the mother of his youngest son, Daphne Joy Navarez. The actress and OnlyFans model was named in Rodney Jones's suit against Diddy as she was referenced to as an alleged sex worker of Diddy's that also gets paid a monthly stipend. She has denied those allegations in a post made to social media, writing, "I am deeply hurt by the lies in Rodney Jones's lawsuit. The claim that I'm a sex worker is 100% false and character assassination. I am retaining an attorney to explore all legal remedies against both Rodney and his attorney." 50 Cent seemingly poked fun at the allegation of the mother of his son being an alleged sex worker. In a post made to his social media page, 50 wrote a caption, "I didn't know you was a sex worker, you little sex worker, LOL." But this would prompt Daphne Joy to respond to her ex again on social media, but this time would accuse 50 directly of rape and being abusive during their relationship. She would write in part, "Everything is a joke to you until our safety is compromised, which is happening now. You are wreaking real havoc, frenzy, and chaos onto people's lives. How would you feel if Sire was the one in handcuffs for nothing? Let's put the real focus on your true evil actions of raping me and physically abusing me. You are no longer my oppressor, and my God will handle you from this point on. You have permanently damaged the last hope I had for you as a father to preserve our family with these last and final false claims made against me. You have broken our hearts for the last and final time." Those allegations against 50 Cent would prompt him to fire back against his ex Daphne Joy and sue her for defamation. In his suit, 50 Cent said those allegations were unequivocally false and would claim she made the shocking allegations in retaliation after he moved to take sole custody of their son. Since that suit, Daphne has deleted her Instagram post accusing 50 of rape and physical abuse. 50 Cent was asked by The Hollywood Reporter the latest in the defamation suit. The rapper and television producer said he tiptoes around the Daphne stuff and explained why. He said, "I got a family court case. The allegations that came out, she posted things to her page saying some crazy stuff. But this comes 8 hours after I filed for custody for my son. And she put that up in response to that, and I'm like, ugh. In this climate, you know how quickly they pass judgment. Things have worked out since she said those things." He went on to add, "I'd like to respond and say some wild stuff, but I've got to sustain that for my son." 50 was asked if he was worried about the allegations, especially given he's making a docuseries about an alleged abuser. And 50 replied, "It is damaging. It is damaging just to have anything said about you at this point, because you have people out there who don't believe your intentions. And if things are going in a positive direction for you and something pops, they gasp." He went on to say for entertainment purposes, they exploit that as much as possible, but there's no merit to it. But one thing 50 wasn't asked was if he believed Diddy would be formally charged and or potentially indicted for the many allegations he still faces. But attorney Ben Chu, who represented Johnny Depp during his trial against Amber Heard, says he does see an indictment coming down in Diddy's future.
I agree with that. I mean, obviously, I don't have any inside information. I don't think many people do, but I do think the signs are ominous. These are very grave matters. As you know, there have been 2 raids on his properties, and that's obviously very ominous signs for him. Although, interestingly, we haven't seen the indictments yet. There's been some time lag. I suppose it will take some time to go through all the forensic, evidence, but still, these are very serious matters. So, I think he faces some serious reckoning.
Diddy faces a staggering number of civil lawsuits.
Exceeded his ability to pay, both financially and ethically. Perhaps the most personal and revealing jab from 50 Cent, a true secret rooted in their decades-long rivalry, is the insinuation that Diddy's entire persona was a facade, a manufactured image built on exploiting the creativity and vulnerability of others. 50 Cent, an acknowledged ghostwriter for Diddy early in his career, has consistently painted him as a businessperson who took credit for the work of others. More recently, 50 Cent has openly mocked Diddy's alleged weird energy, recounting a story where Diddy supposedly offered to take him shopping, an anecdote he claims made him deeply uncomfortable and instantly suspicious of the mogul's character. Now, with the weight of the current allegations, this seemingly minor personal beef has taken on a profoundly darker context, painting Diddy's extravagant lifestyle not as earned success, but as the gaudy, hollow performance of a man allegedly hiding a terrible secret. 50 Cent is essentially claiming he saw the red flags early, that
for sexual misconduct, 10 that have been filed since last November. Former adult film star Adria English filed her suit on July 3rd of this year, claiming she was first employed by Combs in 2004 and was groomed into sex trafficking over time. In May of this year, April Lampros filed her lawsuit against Combs, accusing him of battery and sexual assault. 2 days prior to Lampros' suit being filed, Crystal McKinney also filed a suit against Diddy. McKinney alleges she met Combs at a studio where he gave her a lace joint, alcohol, then forced her to the bathroom and forced her to perform oral sex on him. Rodney Jones Jr. filed his lawsuit in federal court in February of this year that accuses Combs and the people who work with him of being part of an illegal racketeering enterprise. He also accused Diddy of sex trafficking, sexual assault, and harassment. Then there's a suit filed by a woman under the moniker Jane Doe, which was filed in December of 2023. Doe alleges she was gang raped and sex trafficked by Combs and former Bad Boy Records president Harve Pierre when she was just 17 years old and in the 11th grade. Liza Gardner filed her lawsuit against Combs and R&B singer Aaron Hall in November of 2023, alleging the two forced her to have sex with them against her will when she was 16 years old. On the same day Gardner's suit was filed, another suit was filed, this one by Joy Dickerson Neal. She alleges Combs intentionally drugged her, then sexually assaulted her and recorded the assault. And then there's the only lawsuit that has been settled, a mere day after it was filed in federal court, and that's the federal lawsuit filed by Diddy's ex-girlfriend, singer and actress Cassandra Ventura, aka Cassie. In Cassie's now settled lawsuit against her ex, she accused Diddy of sexual assault, battery, sex trafficking, and requiring her to engage in forced sexual acts. Since the ongoing suits, Diddy has appeared to be living his life. He's been pictured biking around South Beach, getting onto his lavish private jet, and even whitewater rafting. But for his accusers, it hasn't been sitting well. After the photos were made public of Diddy seemingly enjoying his summer vacation in Wyoming, Cassie's lawyer Douglas Wigder released a statement to TMZ saying, quote, "I don't think whitewater rafting will prepare him for the choppy waters that lie ahead." Adria English, Diddy's most recent accuser's attorney, also weighed in, saying, after seeing defendant Combs whitewater rafting and jetting around on his personal plane, seemingly enjoying his life despite all the atrocities he has caused and has been accused of by countless individuals over decades, Miss English is even more motivated to ensure justice prevails. But attorney Ben Chew explains Diddy's recent appearances might just be a front.
Yeah, I mean, I think I think it does show that it's consistent with the image that he's not concerned about this, that he will survive it all. But it's I think within there must be a certain amount of concern. I think whenever you have a video or audio tape, and we've all seen the very disturbing videotape. I mean, it's very hard to watch. I mean, I didn't even watch the whole thing. It was too disturbing. And from an attorney's point of view, as you and I can appreciate and your viewers can appreciate, it's really hard to explain away audio tape. It's almost impossible to explain away videotape. And that's just damning evidence. It almost doesn't matter what you say, because any human being looking at that is going to find that wildly disturbing. And all you can really say, I suppose, if you were the person depicted, is that
He dodged the dark side of the Diddy machine, and now he is the only one truly unafraid to expose it all. He sees Diddy's panic. He sees the desperate, quickly deleted apology video regarding the Cassie incident, an apology that 50 Cent immediately labeled as a bad move and not going to work. Diddy's reaction is precisely what 50 Cent wanted, a moment of weakness, a crack in the powerful armor, proving that the man who wanted to be seen as a god is now a desperate, cornered celebrity. The ultimate secret 50 Cent is revealing is the system itself, the complicity of Hollywood, the music industry, and even politics that allowed Diddy to operate with impunity for so long. By developing a Netflix series and openly promising to donate the profits to sexual assault survivors, 50 Cent has masterfully positioned himself not just as a rival, but as a righteous truth-teller, a modern-day vigilante. The secrets aren't just Diddy's actions, they are the secrets of the entire elite class that protected him. The long-held secret about Diddy's image itself is also part of 50 Cent's takedown. 50 Cent has openly claimed Diddy was a business opportunist, a suit who took credit from the creatives, a ghostwriter on his own success. He's repeatedly brought up the weird story of Diddy offering to take him shopping, painting it as a deeply uncomfortable, boundary-crossing moment that exposed a deeper pathology. These personal, pre-existing grievances are now the filter through which the public views the horrific allegations. Diddy's swagger isn't seen as confidence anymore, it's seen as the desperate bravado of a man living a lie. Diddy is losing it because the one man he could never truly control, the one man who always spoke the uncomfortable truth, has now gathered all the disparate, dark whispers into one undeniable, globally distributed narrative. The feds raided the mansions, the lawsuits are mounting, the legacy is in ruins, and the soundtrack to Diddy's complete and utter downfall is a gleeful, relentless, 50 Cent. There is no coming back from this. This isn't just the end of a career. This is the annihilation of an icon. This is how a king falls. And 50 Cent is standing on the wreckage, lighting a cigar, ready to collect the viewership on the ashes of an empire. He listened to the whispers, and now, he's made them scream. And Diddy is finally, truly, out of time. The secrets are out. The game is over. He's done. Finished. The internet is already writing the obituary for the bad boy era, and 50 Cent is supplying the epitaph. It's a spectacular, devastating collapse, orchestrated by the one person Diddy truly underestimated,